I asked her if she would take the car back. She said no.
Judge Judy, she's not telling you the whole truth.
This is Judge Judy. Carol Althoff is suing Tracy Johnson for the unpaid balance on a car she sold her.
Judge, this is case number 16 on the calendar in the matter of Althoff versus Johnson. Parties have been sworn in. Sir, you may be seated.
Miss Althoff, you sold a car to the defendant. What kind of car was it that you sold?
It's a 2008 Volkswagen Jetta.
It didn't belong to you. It belonged to one of your kids.
Yes, it was my daughter's car. I was just the co-owner on the title.
How did you find the car?
I found the car through something called Facebook Marketplace.
Okay. And it was a 12-year-old car. You negotiated a price, correct, with the plaintiff, and the price was $3,000. Is that right?
Yes.
So, Miss Johnson, this is your problem. You bought a 12-year-old car for an agreed price of $3,000. Then you tell this perfect stranger, I only have $1,000 to give you down. Can I make payments on the other $2,000? She agreed. So far, am I correct?
Yes.
You took the car. You still have the car.
Yes.
And you didn't pay her the balance of $2,000.
No, ma'am, I did not. There's a reason why I did not, though.
Why did you think? Yeah, you said you... Is that right?
That is correct.
So give her the car back. She'll give you the $1,000 back.
I tried to give her the car back. I tried to give Lauren, the person who I was dealing with, her daughter, the car back. The second day that I had it, I asked her if she would take the car back. She said no. Her father came to my door, and I asked him if he would take the car back, and he said no.
Just a second. All right, listen to me. They may have said no. Now we're in court. Okay. And now I'm telling you, you can't keep the car. You have to give it back to her. They'll give you back your $1,000. They'll sell it to somebody else.
Judge Judy, she's not telling you the whole truth.
Listen, I'm here to make things quick and easy. She can't have the car and not pay for it. She doesn't want the car, clearly. Is that right?
I can't use the car.
You clearly don't want the car. She can't use the car. According to her, she's put in some money into the car. Brakes, and well, that's her problem. I don't care about that. Then she was silly enough to do that before she had the whole thing tested and everything else. That's her problem. So you're getting back your car with new brakes. And what else did you do to the car?
I had the two back tires changed.
And you have 2 new tires.
I know my daughter doesn't want the car back.
I don't care. She couldn't get the car smog. That's what she says.
Well, the story with the smog...
And you live in the state of California.
Yes, we do.
You can't sell a car in the state of California that can't be smogged.
What my daughter had arranged with her... Well, she had arranged with the defendant that she had told her, I haven't had the car smogged, and I need to get it smogged. And this is the reason why, was because she had had some work done on the car, and when the car, they took it to be smogged, they said it wasn't ready, because when you unplug the battery, you have to wait with this particular car.
Listen, you're not paying attention to me, and I'm not hearing you. Now, you are A, not a mechanic. B, you can't tell me what she arranged with your daughter. That's hearsay. C, I'm here to resolve this matter. You're getting back a better car than you sold to her a couple of months ago. I assume you didn't take any cross-country trips because you couldn't drive the car. Is that correct?
I could not drive it because I couldn't register it.
Do you have the title to the car?
No, I never got the title to the car.
We gave her the title to the car, Judge.
Is it registered in your name?
No, it is not.
Because she did not go register it.
Who's now? Shh! Hey, listen to me. If you speak out again, I'm going to just dismiss your case. Do you understand that?
Yes,
This
I understand.
is not a party that we're at. In whose name is the car registered?
I believe it's Lauren's.
You never took it to DMV?
No, I didn't.
To change the title?
No, I went to DMV, but they told me that I couldn't register it because it didn't pass smog. It needed a smog certificate. So when I went to the smog place, it can't pass smog.
So the only person who's on...
And her, I think so. I think.
But you're not on the title?
No.
Very good.
Your Honor,
what?
May my witness testify to something?
You're getting the car back. That's it. You're getting the car back. And she gets the money that she put in. She paid you how much? $1,000?
Yes.
Right. That's what she gets back. Then she'll go buy another car, and you'll find somebody else to sell this to, understanding that it did not pass smog twice. And if there are any specific directions that you need to tell somebody that you have to dance around it, click your heels 3 times, and say, I want to go to Oz, before you try to re-smog it, you'll give them those instructions. Right now, she's giving you back the car. She gets a $1,000 deposit back. You're getting a car with 2 new tires and new brakes. Goodbye. be happy, have a happy life. We're done. Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
My daughter trusted somebody who said that they would make the payments.
I wanted the car when I wanted the car, and they should have had it smogged.
They had worked out the deal with what was going to go on with the smogging.
And I knew that, and I took the car anyways.
The lady canceled numerous times. My daughter was trying to work with her.
Don't have a friend test drive it for you, for starters.
And the lady wanted the car then.
And make sure that it's smogged.
And my daughter trusted her, and she took advantage of her.
All parties in the matter of Pesanowski versus Morgan. Step to the podium.
Former friend Megan Morgan for vet bills regarding the euthanizing of a dog.
Ms. Pegnowski, there is no way that this is a happy case. You had 3 small Chihuahuas.
Yes.
You were moving from one apartment to another, and I must assume from the complaint that you filed, you could only take 2 of them with you.
Correct.
The oldest of those dogs was quite senior. How old?
She was 15.
And how old were the others?
They were 5 and 10.
So this is what happened. You had to make a difficult decision, either moving, and was it part of your lease that you could only have 2 dogs?
Yes.
And you made the decision that you would part with the older one, and you called a friend of yours, that's the defendant, and you asked her if she could take the 15-year-old.
Yes.
You do understand that that's sort of a big responsibility to ask someone else to do, to take an old dog, which is going to require care. The dog is quite senior. That's a sort of a big responsibility to ask someone else to do.
Yes.
But you did it anyway, and the defendant, who has dogs, how many dogs do you have?
I currently have 5 Chihuahuas.
She said she would take, is it a boy or a girl that she took?
It was a girl, and she happily said she would take her. And the reason why...
You asked her to do you a favor. So it's not that somebody's happy to take a 15-year-old dog. Someone says, I will do it because the alternatives sound awful. So you brought your older little girl to her house, and you gave her the dog.
Yes, she happily took the dog, and...
No, don't tell me happily. You gave her the dog. That's
Yes, ma'am.
either yes or a no.
Yes, ma'am.
You gave her the dog. So now it's her dog.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant arrived at my house later that evening on the 28th of February. She stated that she couldn't keep the dog. I graciously accepted taking on the responsibility.
Miss Morgan.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Morgan, she had called you first. She didn't just
No, ma'am.
show up.
It wasn't a call. It was she reached out to me via text message on Messenger through Facebook.
Okay. Do you have those messages with you?
I do have the messages with me.
Would you read them to me, please?
Yes, ma'am. Hey girl, long time no talk to. I hope you're well and life's treating you great. I'm reaching out to you because I'm having to make the hardest decision of my life. I have to move to a place that I've lived for the past 2 years by March 1st. I found a place at last minute that will take me with my horrible credit, but absolutely not 3 dogs. I thought long and hard, and I feel Tater would be the best in your dogs. But no one is working with me with Tater. She's mostly deaf and has some cataracts, but otherwise is very healthy. Well, shoot me a call. My number is, this is my response. So you're looking for a home for just Tater? Yeah, I'll take her. I mean, I already have 5, but what's 1 more? Oh my God, you're amazing. Call me. I'm in Ramona at the moment. I'll call you when I'm back in Lakeside. Okay, thank you, Megan. I can finally stop crying. That was on February 26th at 9:54 in the morning.
When did you drop the dog off? On the 26th, at what time?
At around noon, she came to my home.
Okay, and then tell me what happened to the dog.
She left the dog in my possession. Everything went great. She was playing around with my kids. She was in the house. She was treated like one of my own.
How many children do you have?
I have 2, a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old. I went to bed that night. Tater was fine. She was actually sleeping in my bedroom on my floor. My dog's free roam in my house, so it wasn't an issue. She did suffer from incontinence, so it was kind of an issue with my husband, and I told him that I would address it at a later date, that I would get her a crate or something to have her own provisions for that dog. The next morning, I got up at 5 a.m. I let all my dogs out in my secured backyard, and by 7 a.m. when I got up to get my kids ready for school, I received a text message from my neighbor's yard, and she looked hurt. When I went outside to look for said dog, she was sitting by my back gate, and she had a laceration to her right shoulder. The moment that I had found the dog in that state, I contacted Kendra and said that Tater had been hurt that she's at my house and that I needed her to come down and get her because I had to get, at this time, this is before COVID, my 2 small children had to be at school by 8 o'clock. I set Tater up in my driveway in an X-Pen, what we use in rescues. I had her bed out there with her and everything. Kendra arrived and picked up Tater and then proceeded to take her to Animal Medical Center in El Cajon due to the laceration on her right shoulder.
So let me understand this, Miss Morgan.
Yes, ma'am.
You called the plaintiff.
Yes, ma'am.
And told her to come and get the dog.
Yes, ma'am.
And take the dog to the vet.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, right now, Miss Morgan, you do understand that the law says that you are the dog's owner.
Okay. I do not know the laws by heart, so I do not know that.
Well, I'll tell you. When she asked you to take the dog, and you agreed to take the dog, and she brought the dog to you and relinquished control of the dog to you, she relinquished any interest that she had in the dog.
Yes, ma'am.
To you. So when you called her and asked her to come and get the dog, to come and take your dog to the vet, that's the law. I know it may sound ridiculous to you because you had had the dog less than 24 hours, but it's still your dog, and you were asking the former dog's owner to take the dog to the vet.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so she, therefore, under those circumstances, as silly as it may sound to a layperson, she was acting as your agent in taking the dog to the vet. So what she's asking for is for you to pay for the dog's vet bill.
Yes, ma'am, and I understand that. She did not request me to pay for the vet bill. I would have gladly paid for the vet bill. I have a stack of bills sitting in front of me that shows that I am a responsible pet owner, that I have paid for.
No. So, Miss Morgan, what did she ask you for?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I did try to call her so many times, and she blocked me.
No, not blocked you. That was later. I'm talking about, do you have any evidence that on the 27th, when you were at the vet, you tried to contact Miss Morgan? The answer is either yes or no.
Kendra Pesanowski claims former friend Megan Morgan owes for vet bills after she euthanized a dog due to Megan's neglect.
So, Miss Morgan, what...
After she retrieved Tater, she took her to AMC Vet, and she took it upon herself to have the dog euthanized. She didn't seek treatment for the dog. I was then threatened. I had to block her on Facebook.
Hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
You had the dog euthanized because...
They wanted to do surgery, and it was going to be $3,000, and I did not have the money, and they also said with the age that she was at, she might not survive.
Did you tell?
I could not get a hold of Miss Megan.
Well, I would like you to show me on your phone on the 27th of February, sometime early in the morning, that you tried to contact her so that the owner of the dog, because now she's the owner, could make a decision as to whether or not the dog should have surgery or should be euthanized. Because if you made that decision by yourself, madam, then you'll pay your own vet bill. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Preliminarily, you gave the dog to the defendant. She asked you, acting as her agent, to pick up the dog to take it to be treated at the vet. You just told me that you made a decision when you took the dog to the vet because of the dog's age and the fact that you didn't have money for surgery to have the dog euthanized. And I have to see that you made, that doesn't have to be done in a moment. That could be done in an hour or two in the time that you possibly could reach her. Do you have any evidence that on the 27th in the morning, when you were at the vet, you tried to contact Ms. Morgan? The answer is either yes or no.
I would have to pull it up, so I do not have...
I have time. If you say you tried to call, don't waste my time. So if you have proof that you tried to call her from the vet, and there's a time frame when you would be at the vet on that morning so that the owner of the dog could make a decision as to whether she wanted to spend the money for surgery or not, I'll read that. If you made the decision, then you pay for the vet bill yourself. And if the vet bill was $700, then that's your responsibility.
I did try to call her so many times, and she blocked me and would not answer my phone calls.
No, not blocked you. That was later. I'm talking about calling her from the vet in the morning of the 27th. Did you call her from the vet the morning of the 27th?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
After the text message was sent that she said I killed her dog, I received a phone call from animal control stating that I was neglectful and she was making up these stories so that they would come and investigate me.
All right.
Real people. Judge Judy. Kendra Pesanowski claims former friend Megan Morgan owes for vet bills after she euthanized a dog due to Megan's neglect.
Now, did you call her from the vet the morning of the 27th?
I did. I need to look and find the proof. I need
Go.
to...
Go.
May I state something
Go.
while she looks
Look
for
on
the
your
proof?
phone.
May I state something
Sure.
while she looks on the proof? Okay,
Yes.
so after she retrieved the dog, I had gotten the text message later on that evening that she had indeed put the dog down.
Was that the first time you heard
Yes,
from
ma'am.
her?
That was the first time that I heard from her. The text
Could
message.
you bring that up?
I would love to. I have a new cell phone. I don't have any of my text messages from my prior phone. My number's been changing and everything.
You brought up the other text message from
That was
prior.
via Messenger off Facebook. So logging into
I
my
see.
Facebook is one thing, getting my actual text messages from my prior cell phone is another. So after the text message was sent that she said I killed her dog because she had to have her euthanized, I received a phone call from animal control stating that there was allegations that I was neglectful and that I had more animals than I was allotted to have on my property, and she was making up these stories so that they would come and investigate.
Okay.
Animal control had informed me where the dog was euthanized.
Don't tell me. Don't
Yes, ma'am.
tell me what anybody told you. She had the dog euthanized. She said she did.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I said, first off, the vet has never even heard of any animal ever leaving a dog with these significant injuries in a cage in the cold outside by their driveway, complete neglect. Second, for you to have said you couldn't take her to the vet because yours was closed.
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen to me. I asked you for a simple thing, not that you're blaming her sometime later. I asked you to find a phone call that you tried to make to her from the vet. Look, it's very unfortunate what happened to your dog. You called the defendant because you couldn't take the dog with you, all three. You made a choice of which one. You chose the oldest one. She took the dog. You brought the dog there. There is absolutely no evidence, and you don't have any evidence, and I certainly don't believe that the defendant did anything to harm your dog. She took your dog in along with her other dogs. By the way, did you tell her that your dog was incontinent?
No, she was not incontinent, ma'am.
When you called her, okay.
I would not rehome a dog that was incontinent.
Yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. Now, do you have any proof that you called her from the vet so that she could make a decision as to whether, or she's now the dog's owner, that she could make the decision about whether to euthanize the dog or to have surgery?
If I had been smart and pulled up the phone records, I would have evidence.
Okay, but you don't.
I don't.
So it's very unfortunate that this dog ended its long life that way. It's always said we can't always pick the way we or our pets go. So your vet bill was $700. Is that what it was?
It was $342.
Yeah, you take care of it yourself. You made the decision on how to treat the dog. You take care of it yourself. Your case is dismissed. We're finished. Thank you.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy, their conflict is at a crossroads.
He's 100% at fault when he hit my car.
Well, they only sent her 50%. She wants the whole thing. What do you think?
Judge Judy.
I don't know why she would put the dog, a Chihuahua, in a cage in the driveway.
Any dog rescue uses what they call X pins.
When I have a hour drive to go pick her up.
A confined space. She had a bed. She had a blanket.
I feel like it's my fault that the dog is dead.
A sad story that the dog had to perish. If she would have actually called me from the vet, we could have come to agreement and had Tater still here with us today.
She wished it was a bad dream.
You were awakened by what, 4 o'clock in the morning?
My phone. He had been calling me nonstop. He wrecked my car.
The reality was an eye-opener.
And what did you find when you got there?
My car on top of 9 fence posts and chain link fence wrapped underneath of it.
Now her nightmare continues.
He says he wasn't even there. It doesn't get easier. It's just going to get harder.
This is Judge Judy. Brianna Collins is suing her former friend, Nicholas Brown, for driving her car without permission and wrecking it.
Judge, this is case number 63 on the calendar in the matter of Collins versus Brown. Parties have been sworn in.
Miss Collins, it is your claim that the defendant, who, according to you, you knew only slightly, took your car without permission on August 11th of this year and had a bad accident with it. You want him to be... And then doesn't deny that he drove your car. He said he had your permission to drive it. He returned it. He doesn't know what happened to it after that. So why don't you, in your own words, tell me first how you know him, second, the story about the 11th of August when your car was in a ditch.
Well, I met Nick from... I take care of this older gentleman. He's kind of like an uncle to me that lives on our property. And he was over there at a friend's house right behind us. And that's how I had met them, was through them. He had came over and knocked on my door and asked me if he could have a ride home or just if he could have a ride down the road, is what he had said. And I told him after I put my kids to bed that I would take him. And I fell asleep in the process of putting my kids to bed. And that usually happens, though. So, and then I woke up on the, like, 4 o'clock in the morning saying that he needed my help. And
you woke up, now that's, I know what you memorized, madam. Now I'm going to, I know what you memorized. Now I'm going to stop you. So now you're singing your children to sleep, and you were awakened 4 o'clock in the morning. You see how we're smiling at each other? And you were awakened 4 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't get easier. It's just going to get harder. You were awakened by what, 4 o'clock in the morning?
My phone. He had been...
You don't know that because you were sleeping.
Well, you're right.
Right?
Yes.
So you don't know that because, according to you, you were sleeping. But you finally heard your phone.
Yeah.
And answered your phone. And on the other end of the phone was the defendant. Go ahead.
Stating that...
And?
He had...
He said... No, not stating. He said...
He said that...
What did he say to you?
He wrecked my car and that I needed to come and pick it up before the tow truck guy got there.
Okay, did he tell you where he was?
Yes, he had said that he was down by the State Patrol office. Sorry.
He said he was by the State Patrol office.
Yes.
I assume you knew where that was.
Yes.
So what did you do?
I woke up my significant...
No. Look at me.
I woke up my significant other and asked him if I could use his car to go and see what was going on.
How did you wake him up?
I hit him. I, nudged him. Hey.
Well, where were your children?
They were asleep in their room.
Well, so at some point, what you said to me was I was singing bedtime stories to my children, and I fell asleep.
Yes.
At some point, you left your children's room and went back to your significant other's room.
Yes.
About what time was that?
I have no idea. I did not look at the phone, and I didn't think anything, I'm told that, hey, you should get out of the girls' bed.
I told you it was going to get worse. Now, so you woke up your significant other, and what happened? What did you do next?
I showed him...
What did you do? What did you do next?
I told him I needed his car so that I could leave to go and check out my car.
Okay. And did he give you permission to take his car?
Yes.
So you drove alone to the State Patrol office area?
Yeah, it wasn't exactly there, but down the road.
And what did you find when you got there?
My car on top of 9 fence posts and chain link fence wrapped underneath of it.
And where was the defendant?
Walking up to me, telling me that he was sorry.
Just a second. So he was walking up to you?
Yes.
Did you both wait for a tow truck?
Yes and no.
Is not an answer.
No and yes. I had went back. He had thought that we could tow my car myself. And it did, because it didn't look like it was as bad as it had seemed, I guess. So he opened my trunk and he tied together my jumper cables and he hooked it to my car. And I was like, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. Just stop. And so I went back home in my boyfriend's car and bring the truck there so that we could tow the truck home and not have to pay for a tow truck. But it didn't work out like that. By the time I had
Well, how did it work out?
By the time I got back to the accident, the tow truck guy was already there and attempting to get my car off of this fence post.
And
it cost us $350 for them to tow it off of there into my house.
Just a second. Where was the defendant?
Standing right there.
Okay. Did anyone make a police report?
I have no idea. All I did was file, I didn't press any charges or anything on him because that would have done me no good. He can't pay for my car while he's sitting in jail.
I just want to see a police report.
I don't
When there's
have
an
one.
accident like this, there's usually a police report.
I don't have one. I was never given one.
Well, you have to call the police in order to them to write a report. They're not sitting around waiting, say, oh, gee, maybe I should drive by this area and see if there was an accident.
Yes, I was.
So you didn't make.
I didn't.
You didn't call the police.
They were already there.
The police were there.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, interesting. When did the police get there?
Before I arrived. I'm not sure.
So there is a police report somewhere. There has to
yes.
be. If the police were there has to be a police report.
Yes. I wasn't the one that wrecked the car. I didn't really talk to the cops.
That doesn't matter. The owner of the car.
Yes.
So the owner of the car, if the police are taking a report, they take down the name of the driver and the owner.
And that was all.
Now, you knew you were coming to court today. You live in Los Angeles?
No.
Where do you live?
In Washington, Moses Lake, Washington.
In the state of Washington? Yes. Well, this may come as a surprise to you, but in court you're supposed to bring evidence. And if the police were on the scene, the police would have recorded who was driving the car, who was the owner of the car, because the defendant says he wasn't driving the car when it ended up in a ditch. Isn't that what you said to me in your answer, sir?
Yes, it is.
So, do you have a copy of the police report?
No, I don't.
Well, why don't you get it? She's alleging that you took her car, or at least that you were the driver of the car. How many police responded to that? One car or more than one car?
I have no idea.
How many police cars were there?
When I had arrived, there was one. By the time it was all over, there was 3.
So there were 3 police cars, and according to you, he was there.
Yes.
Because you told me a moment ago that he was there when you arrived. And if the police were there when you arrived, he must have been there, which could settle the whole thing, right? All you need is a police report. So, I
have text messages.
Without prejudice to you furnishing me a police report, and if the police report, which it will, indicates that he was the driver of the car, I will enter a judgment for you in the amount you request, which is $3,000. But the police report must say that he was on the scene and was driving the car. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand. Sorry. I believe that I have, actually, because the photos that I brought were from the police. They had emailed it to me. I believe that I have that, in my email.
You believe that you have a copy of the police report that says the defendant was at the scene when they were there and had been driving the car?
It does state that Nick Brown is the one that wrecked it, yes. I'm pretty sure, yes.
Well, take a look at it. Take a look at the report.
Because he received the ticket and
No.
So
No.
I never saw any of it.
Well, let's see. Just find it for me. I'm more than happy to look at it. Mr. Brown, they wouldn't make up your name, right?
No, they wouldn't.
No, I guess I don't. All it is the case notes because I had to pay for them.
Do you understand what my
Yes.
ruling? All I need is a document. I will allow you to get it, but I'm dismissing your case pending you getting me that document. A document from the police that indicates on the 11th of August of 2020, they responded to a car, your car. The defendant was at the scene, admitted to driving the car. They don't even have to say that. If he was there, he says he wasn't even there. He says he doesn't know if police arrived or any. He says he doesn't know. I don't want to see text messages between the two of you. I want to see the police report. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's very easy to get.
Yep.
All you have to do is ask.
Yep.
Thank you. We're done.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
My car wasn't there, and he was on the phone saying he wrecked it.
Left the keys in the ignition like they usually are, and took off. I don't know what happened.
I'm just going to get the police report.
If she gets a police report, then fine. But if she can find it.
All parties in the matter of Watson versus Young. Step to the podium, please.
Rosie Watson is suing carpenter Kellon Young for a refund for unfinished work on her staircase.
Miss Watson, it is your claim that you hired the defendant to do some work on the steps in your dollars. He left and said he would be back to finish the job in a day or two. A couple of days later, according to your complaint, an older gentleman appeared and started working on the project and was there for a relatively short period of time and left.
Yes, ma'am.
You want your money back?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Young says that you were a pest and a micromanager. He did $800 worth of work, and then he said, that's for the work that I did. I'm not doing this job anymore. That's your defense.
Yes.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
All right. Good. Then I'm going to start with you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She actually wanted me to cash the check, and I would use the money to buy the stuff with.
So she paid for the materials herself?
No, she didn't pay for herself. It was out of the money that she gave me.
Well, that was her money. So far, you hadn't done anything.
Rosie Watson is suing carpenter Kellon Young for a refund for unfinished work on her staircase.
Okay. Tell me what your business is.
I mostly help friends and family with their homes and apartments.
What kind of work were you supposed to do for the plaintiff?
I was supposed to repaint some stair wood.
And when did she give you the check?
She gave it to me like a day before I started the work.
On what date did you give him the check?
On April 27, 2020, Your Honor.
So you're telling me that you came back to her house on April 28th?
No, first...
Is that correct?
Yes, but we first went to Home Depot together to purchase the items.
Okay. And did she put that on her credit card?
No.
Or did you put that on your credit card?
No, she actually wanted me to cash the check, and I would use the money to buy the stuff with.
Is that what you did?
Yes.
So she paid for the materials herself.
No.
And how much were the materials?
No, she didn't pay for herself. It was out of the money that she gave me.
Well, that was her money. So far, you hadn't done anything.
Yes.
So far, she paid for the materials.
Yes.
How much were the materials?
We spent like $300.
Not we.
Or I spent $300.
She.
She spent, yes.
She spent.
Yes.
$300. How much was the receipt from wherever you went to purchase the supplies? He said it was about $300. Do you recall?
Your Honor.
Or do you have the receipt?
Your Honor.
What?
Absolutely not. He's lying to you. This broke hustler has stolen from so many people, he ought to lock himself up.
If you don't answer my questions,
Just
a second. Okay. So what you're saying is the two of you never went to a Home Depot to buy supplies.
Yes, ma'am. I gave him $800.
Just don't get ahead of me. You gave him a check on April 27th for $800. When was the next time you saw him?
About 3 days later, he and I met at the Home Depot. He purchased one can of paint.
Just a second. 3 days later, you must have had some sort of either text or telephone communications to know to meet at Home Depot.
Yes, it was a text message that we...
May I see it?
Yes. Where it says, okay.
Just a second. Okay, so you met at Home Depot, and that was on Wednesday, the 29th. So that was 2 days after you had given him the check.
Yes, ma'am.
And then, sir, pay attention. According to the text, you bought a can of paint. Mr. Young.
No, according to her.
According to the text, you...
I didn't
No,
just buy
that's the text. Well, then you should have kept a receipt. You said, I need a can of paint to paint the railing. Can you bring a chip?
That's for the railing. That ain't for the steps. So she's not showing you the right text,
now,
I guess.
You'll show me your evidence when you show it to me.
Same day. Someone was already there working already that same day. Someone was there. Someone was there prepping, and the guy who helps.
There?
There's a guy who helps me.
What's his name?
Charles. And Charles was there.
Charles was already there on the 29th.
Yes.
When had Charles gone there?
When I dropped him off, probably like 8:30 or 9.
On the 29th. Ms. Watson.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that when this gentleman that you referred to, an older gentleman, showed up?
Showed up, yes, ma'am. And he did about no more than 2 hours worth of work. Absolutely. Mr. Young.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Someone showed up and did an hour's worth of work and left, so you did see someone. So let's not get fixated. Who you refer to an older gentleman, don't tell me what he did. He showed up.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rosie Watson is suing carpenter Kellon Young for a refund for unfinished work on her staircase.
Okay, when you got back at 3:30 from getting the paint, you met him there, you bought a can of paint, and then you went home. Did he go home with you?
No, ma'am. Property. He was doing work on my rental property. He bought one can of paint, and he kept the paint in his vehicle along with the receipt. I never saw him after that.
Okay. When you got to the rental property that day, the next day, was Charles still there?
No, ma'am.
Had you seen Charles that morning?
I had not seen him.
On the 29th. You did?
No, they have not returned to my property since I gave him the check.
Didn't say. According to you, someone showed up and did an hour's worth of work and left. So you did see someone. So let's not get fixated. You gave him the check on the 27th.
Yes.
Somebody showed up on the 29th.
And
who
did.
You refer to an older gentleman.
Yes.
Don't tell me what he did. He showed up.
Yes.
And you haven't seen either Mr. Young after purchasing the can of paint or this Charles since April 29th.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Now, would you show me a photograph of the steps as Charles left them?
Yes, ma'am. And I can tell you what this photograph shows.
Don't say anything just yet. Okay, so I'm looking at the railing. It looks like either the paint is off or was sanded off or is just off from where?
This is the only work that railing of the stairs, and he put on the primer, the white area you see here, this is primer. About 1/10 of the stairs were primed. That's all the work that was done, period, at the end.
I got it. And you haven't seen them since?
Not at all.
Have you been in communication with Mr. Young?
Multiple messages following this.
Has he responded to you?
No, he blocked my text messages. He blocked me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. Now, Mr. Young, certainly this job was not completed based on this photograph, and I assume you did not have a photograph.
Yeah, well,
to show me a completed job.
Oh, no, not completed, no.
Well, of course not completed. Now, you want to tell me whether you were back to the property, and if you were not back to the property, why?
Went back and stayed until probably 5 o'clock. And I didn't just purchase one can of paint. We purchased more items than just one can. And
I don't know that. I want you to tell me whether or not you finished this job more than the photograph that I just saw.
Yeah, yes, of course.
Show me a picture.
I could, okay.
You knew that there was a dispute.
Yeah, only thing I have is this picture here, and and I have a picture.
Well, that's the picture that she showed me.
Yeah, that's the only picture I have that I took.
Then you owe her $800. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you. We're finished.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm just getting the lay of the land here.
I live with my ex-husband.
Must like him again.
He's my husband.
I never heard that before. Look at my age. I learned a new word.
Judge Judy.
I don't agree, of course.
That broke hustler owes so many people.
I'm not a hustler.
I'd like everyone to take a look at that scam artist's face.
You can't please everyone.
If he thought he was going to make me his sugar mama without my permission, I got news for that con man.
A tenant's move-out went by the book.
At the end of the walkthrough, I said, is everything okay? He said, everything looks fine.
Then the landlord rewrote the rules.
I told her I'd be back to reassess it.
When somebody isn't telling me the truth, the hair on any problems to her?
No, I didn't.
You can't come into court and think that the judge is stupid.
This is Judge Judy. Val McLemore says her former landlords, Vincent and Elizabeth Saldias, are wrongfully withholding her security deposit.
Judge, this is case number 60 on the calendar in the matter of McLemore versus Saldias. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss McLemore, you and your roommate were tenants of the defendants for 3 years. That's what I read.
Yes, ma'am.
Was this a private house?
Yes, it was.
How large a home was it?
2 bedrooms, 1 bath. It was fairly small.
And where do the defendants live? Do they live close by or far away?
Well, I don't know exactly where they live, but as far as I know, Oildale.
About how far is that from the rental property?
About maybe 15 miles.
And the first year that you lived there, you had a 1-year lease?
Yes, ma'am. And after that, there was
and then
we were just on a 30-day.
It converted to a month-to-month.
Right.
You want your security deposit back?
Yes, ma'am.
You lived there for 3 years. According to you, you paid your rent on time.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a $900 security deposit. You were supposed to get it back.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you do a walkthrough at the end of your lease?
Yes, ma'am. I did a walkthrough with Mr. Saldias.
Mr. Saldias, did Miss McLemore of her lease?
I conducted a quick walkthrough, and I told her I'd be back to reassess it.
I don't care whether it was quick or took 24 hours. Did anything prevent you from having a longer walkthrough?
Well, at that time, I had received a call from my wife that stated that they were ready to turn over the keys. So I took a drive to that side of town and did a quick walkthrough with them and told them I would be...
Listen, Saldias, understand this. I asked you a question. My question was, did anybody prevent you from doing a longer walkthrough?
No.
And when you did the walkthrough with the plaintiff, did you point out any problems to her?
Well, there were some obvious issues.
No, I want you to... I don't care whether there are obvious issues. I asked you whether you told or wrote down anything that you found that was a damage, whether you either told her verbally or wrote down someplace on that date, the date of the walkthrough, any negative thing that you found. Let's start quickly. Did you write it down?
No, I didn't.
Well, you're a landlord. You're supposed to write it down and give her a copy of the walkthrough.
I didn't know that was due at that particular moment. I thought there was 30 days that...
Well, what did you tell her that you found that was wrong with the house?
Well, I sent her...
Did you send her an itemized list? The question is when? Date.
When they vacated, there was an itemized list. Let me pull it here.
Give me the date that you sent her an itemized list. They vacated the last day in March. Is that correct?
Correct.
What date did you send her an itemized list?
4/20/2020.
Well, 4/20 is 3 weeks later. Had she already made a demand for the return of her security? Of course you did. Right. And after she made a demand for her security back, you said, well, this is what I found wrong. My question to you, Mr. Saldias, is on the date of the walkthrough, which was what date?
I believe it was around the 12th of the month.
12th of March.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying, Mr. Saldias, is over a month later, you sent her a list of things that you found wrong. You didn't tell her anything on March 12th when you did the walkthrough.
I asked him. At the end of the walkthrough, I said, is everything okay? He said, everything looks fine. I said, well, how long will it be before I get my security deposit back? And he said, should be 2 or 3 days, shouldn't be long at all. Well, I waited 3 weeks before I made a phone.
Just a second. Mr. Saldias, I want you to be very careful with your answer to me. Do you remember Miss McLemore?
I don't remember.
Do you remember that? That's a question.
I don't remember that specific wording, but...
Don't. I want to tell you something. Before you start fumfering around, I have a radar back here. When somebody isn't telling me the truth, the hair on the back of my neck stands up. Do you understand?
Yes.
Did Miss McLemore say to you, does everything look okay?
There were some items there that Miss McLemore and her roommate at the time, which I don't recognize the other lady here as being the roommate that was there when we rented to her, had pointed out to me. And I've got evidence of that, of some of the repairs that needed to take place.
I don't care whether there were any repairs that had to take place. You're the landlord. I asked you a simple question. Did Miss McLemore say to you, does everything look okay? When can I get my security back? And you said 2-3 days.
At that time.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that. At that time.
Okay.
He actually gave me a hug.
Just a second. So now you remember
Judy,
it.
They weren't bad tenants, but At the time that they were leaving, the yard wasn't done. I have pictures to show you. It cost us money to get those things done.
Just a second. If you are alleging that between the 12th and the time they moved out, which was the end of March, they caused some sort of damage to the property, I will look at that it took.
The other thing I'd like to point...
remedy whatever they did.
Okay. The other thing I'd like to point out is...
So now...
From the time that they provided the 30-day notice and the time that they vacated, they didn't pay me for that month of rent.
Just a second. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Okay. Right now, I'm talking about damage. Then I'm going to get to the 13 days that you are alleging they should pay you for because they gave you 30-day notice on April 12th, so you want to charge them for that rent. I'll get to that in a minute, Mr. Saldias.
Okay.
I want to see photographs of what you allege is the damage that they left when they left and receipts to fix it.
First off, I didn't notice it on the initial walkthrough, but there was window screens that were missing. I found 2 of them located in the garage that were beyond repair. There was a total of 4 of them. This is the cost to get those items repaired.
That's a problem for you.
Okay.
You should have noticed it. Take the statement, which I don't buy anyway. Next.
That is the 30-day. They could have never done the walkthrough on the 12th.
Next.
This is a 30-day that she provided, which clearly shows the date, and she could not have done the walkthrough on the 12th. If you see the documents dated the 13th, and that's in her handwriting.
Oh, okay, so that's the 13th. So yeah, I asked you, what date did you do the walkthrough? The second. Do you understand? The first thing I asked you for was damages. I'm going to see what are the damages. First thing is nonsense. I don't even believe that receipt. Next, damages, pictures, and bills.
They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Here, let me get to the pictures.
That's what I would like to see.
Also,
and then the bills.
Also, the plaintiff alleged that we had rented the premises because a friend of mine allowed us to put a travel trailer on the property.
Listen to me. Don't try to get me off track. I don't get off track.
Well, no, but that picture also displays...
Show me the damage that you are alleging.
In this photograph of the backyard, you can note the height of the yard. And as you know, grass doesn't grow that quick in 2 weeks.
So far, you owe them $900. Now we're going to get to your friend's trailer. What's your friend's name?
Gonzalez.
Where does he live?
In Bakersfield.
How long has he had this trailer?
At the time he had just purchased it.
Just a second. At what time?
At the time that it's...
Month. Mr. Saldias, you'll never get where I'm going. When did he purchase it? Month.
March.
I don't want you to say anything.
Okay.
Unless I'm looking at you and asking you a question. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go back to Mr. Saldias. He purchased the trailer in March, correct? Correct.
Yes.
When did you find out that he had purchased the trailer?
Well, the date that he placed the trailer there is when he had purchased it.
That's not what he told me.
So he purchased it... Just a second. Please don't help me. So far, you're winning, right? So far?
So far.
He purchased it the same day you put it in the house.
Yes, he called me and he said he had purchased...
Because...
He had purchased a trailer and I asked him... He said, hey, can I put it on one of your properties on Wilson? And I said, better yet, I have a house that's on Chester that's available, and it would do me a favor so that the premises looked occupied. But he never took...
Great, that's what you told me. Just a second. That's what you told Mr. Gonzalez.
That is correct.
Is that right?
That is correct. Yes.
Now, how good a friend is Mr. Gonzalez?
Pretty good friend.
How good?
I mean, good enough to have done that favor for me. He didn't have to do it, you know.
He wasn't doing you a favor. You were doing him a favor.
Well, I mean...
Don't listen to me. You can't come into court and think that the judge is stupid and that...
I by no means think that you're stupid.
Very good. So he wasn't doing you a favor. You were either doing him a favor or charging him to park his trailer in the house.
Now,
which one is it? And then give me Mr. Gonzalez's... Then give me his phone number.
Now you're speculating, but...
Then give me his phone. Now give me Mr. Gonzalez's phone number. You want to check that in your phone to make sure before I waste my time calling him?
Oh, there's no need to waste your time.
That's the right number?
You'll find that it's correct.
Very good. Terrific. I don't believe that's the number.
3661.
You want to check your phone? You want to check your phone?
He's a good enough friend
check
that I know his number. So
that's the right number.
You have another number for him?
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Is Mr. Gonzalez's trailer still parked at the house?
No.
When did it move? Don't look at her. If you don't know the answer, look at me and say, I don't know the answer.
And later today.
Did your girlfriend have insurance on the car on that day?
I did not
Is not an answer. The answer is either a car had insurance or it didn't have insurance.
Val McLemore is suing her former landlords, Vincent and Elizabeth Saldias, for the return of her security deposit.
Okay, is it parked at the house?
No.
When did it move?
Asking you.
Don't look at her. If you don't know the answer, look at me and say, I don't know the answer.
I don't know the answer. I know that it was moved off when the new...
When
the new tenants took possession.
When did the new tenants take possession?
May 1st.
Now back to Mr. Saldias. When did move his trailer?
I don't remember the specific date.
Well, you started to say when the new tenant moved in. That would be May 1st. Don't look at her, look at me. That would be May 1st, because nobody wants to rent a house and pay rent when you have a huge trailer sitting there.
And nobody wants to squat in a house that believes there's people living in it as well.
You owe her security deposit. You may make a whole bunch of excuses. You can't make excuses here. She lived there for 3 years. You told her she would get her security deposit, and then you made up a whole bunch of excuses not to give it to her. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900.
Your Honor,
that was your security deposit, correct?
Correct.
I'm not speaking to you. Correct?
Correct.
Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I guess she found what she was looking for.
All my life, I've never, ever had to give back a security deposit.
I did a quick walkthrough at that time. I didn't really look at everything.
There was no rush. He was in no rush.
I wish everybody the best.
Bring your case to...
Smith versus Maxwell. Step to the podium, please.
James Smith is suing fellow motorist Gary Maxwell Jr. for backing into his car in a grocery store parking lot.
Mr. Smith, this was an automobile accident that occurred in a parking lot on the 9th of September of this year.
Yes, ma'am, the 9th of September of this year.
What time of the day, sir?
It must have been about late afternoon, between 5:30 and 5:20.
What were the lighting conditions?
It was daylight.
Was it still light?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car were you driving, sir?
A Nissan Frontier, 2019.
Which you had full coverage on, I assume.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you allege that the accident was caused by Mr. Maxwell's negligence.
Yes, ma'am.
Your insurance paid for it. We're going to find out why. But you had a $1,000 deductible, which came out of your pocket to fix the damage.
Yes.
Mr. Maxwell said that the accident was your fault. He didn't have any major damage to his vehicles, which is why he is not counterclaiming. Mr. Maxwell, what kind of car were you driving?
2008 Toyota Avalon.
Who owns that car?
My girlfriend, Debbie Antu.
Did your girlfriend have insurance on the car on that date?
I did not
is not an answer. The answer is either a car...
It had lapsed a couple days before.
Always a couple of days before. The check got lost in the mail. The dog ate the bill. The child flushed it down the toilet. There's always a reason. So you were driving your girlfriend's uninsured car.
Correct.
That's going to make my job a whole lot easier. What was your girlfriend driving?
My girlfriend had just had shots in her neck. That's the reason I was driving.
Was she in the car with you?
She was.
Where were you coming from that day, sir?
Me, Mr. Smith, I was coming from Stater Brothers, and I was on my way to exit a parking lot, and I had some people in front of me that was shoppers, so I had to wait till they clear before I make my right-hand turn. And Mr. Maxwell, without paying attention...
Okay, so you were parked in a space, but people were walking in front of you.
No, I wasn't parked. I was already ready to make my right-hand turn. I was already out the...
You mean out of the... You were going out of the parking lot.
I was
do
trying
you have
to...
a diagram to show me?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to see where your car was.
Okay.
That would be helpful to me. So I didn't understand it
My car was right here, like the orange
Had
spot.
been parked where?
It was parked getting ready to make the right turn in front of Stater Brothers.
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He hit me, Your Honor.
No, he can't have hit you on the side of his car unless it was sideways. It didn't look like it was snowing.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. James Smith is suing fellow motorist Gary Maxwell Jr. for backing into his car in a grocery store parking lot.
Okay, Mr. Smith, had your car been parked in the parking lot?
Yes, it has.
Show me which spot is the spot where you were parked.
I was parked by right here, like the second parking spot right here.
Okay, so you pulled out of the parking spot and you were ready to exit the parking lot.
Yes, ma'am. And Mr. Maxwell.
And just a second, is what you're telling me the defendant was parked right opposite you and he backed out into your car?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have photographs of the damage to your car?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it. Okay. Now point out where the damage was.
Rear end to the rear end tire, right below, right here. Where you open the door, by the rear tire.
Okay, on the side of the car.
Yes, ma'am.
On the driver's side of the car.
But the passenger back by the rear tire.
Yes, I understand. Okay. Any other photographs you want me to see?
If you want to see the whole car, yes, sure. Where the damage is, by the wheel, by here you can see.
Okay, so according to you, the defendant pulled out of the spot. His back bumper went into your driver's side, but the passenger door.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have the bill that you got to fix the car showing the $1,000 deductible that you had to pay?
Yes, ma'am.
So they charged you $2,500.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, and your deductible was $1,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. After this accident happened, according to what I read, the defendant got out of the car, you got out of the car. Did you have a conversation with him?
Yes, it's changed insurance information so I could get my automobile fixed.
And he gave you insurance information?
That was no good, yes.
I know, I got it. But
yes.
He gave you an insurance card?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you called to the police station, Mr. Maxwell?
No, I was not.
Well, how did you provide him with a corrected alleged insurance?
The police called me.
After the accident. Okay. So the police called you.
Correct.
And then it was determined that you had no insurance.
Right.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by Want Justice? Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, the damage to your car, you say, was on the rear bumper.
Correct. And that was done prior to us owning the vehicle.
So there was absolutely no damage to your car?
Correct. Not from this incident.
Okay. And what part of your car hit the plaintiff's car?
I have no idea.
You have no idea.
The damage that he...
Try on this idea. Try on that you owe him for his deductible. You don't drive around in a car without liability insurance. Do you understand?
He hit me, Your Honor.
Liability. No, he can't have hit you on the side of his car unless it was snowing and he skidded into you. He skidded into you sideways. It didn't look like it was snowing.
If you look
California,
at the damage done to his car, it does not look like my car could have done that damage. If you look at the close-up dents, there's no way that bumper could have done that damage. I have pictures showing.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. We're done here. Out. Don't drive a car without insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
What happened after you made the last payment?
Told me the car was gone and then hung up the phone.
What is wrong with you?
Nothing, no.
No, there's something wrong with you. What did you do with the money?
Next Judge Judy.
He also told me he was in an accident 2 weeks prior.
The only damages I have is what he put on my truck.
I feel that the dents were done 2 weeks prior to that.
Don't drive without insurance or you'll pay later.
You did put out rat poison.
On my property side.
A couple's grief is overwhelming.
We have to have evidence in order to connect the defendant to your dead dog.
What's lacking is their proof.
I would like to see the diagnosis from the original vet.
I can't find that. I just have the bills.
Well, that's the most important piece of evidence.
Can I just state something?
You can't state anything. I want to see evidence.
This is Judge Judy. Derek and Nicole Trotter are suing their neighbor, Kevin Edquist, for vet bills, the cost of a dog, and punitive damages after he inadvertently poisoned their pet.
Judge, this is case number 73 on the calendar in the matter of Trotter versus Edquist. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Thank you, Bird. Mr. and Mrs. Trotter, how long have you and the defendant been neighbors?
Close to 18 years.
How long has the wall been up between your two homes?
Ever since we've been there.
Back in December of 2019.
Correct.
It was one of those adorable mixes of puppies. Small dog.
It was a schnoodle, yeah.
That's a combination of a poodle and a schnauzer.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Very adorable, yeah.
Yes. Anyway, I assume that your backyard is fully fenced?
Yeah, it's a block fence, and we have a wandering fig vine that grows on it and up kind of over it.
Is it all cinder block and vine around the backyard?
Yes.
Okay. So I assume that you would let the puppy out by herself?
Right. It was a boy, but yes.
A boy?
Right. Male.
It is your claim that the defendant negligently put out rat poison, and as a result of that, your dog was poisoned and died.
Yeah.
The defendant says, while he does acknowledge that months before he did put out some rat poison, you're going to explain to me why you did that and in what method you did that. It is your claim that there is absolutely no evidence that the rat poison caused the dog to expire, and especially the rat poison that you used. So, Mr. Trotter, you got the dog in December of 2019. Where did you get him from?
We found an ad on Craigslist.
And how much did you pay for him? Because that's part of your lawsuit.
Right. He was $350.
Tell me what happened in August.
So on Sunday morning, August 2nd, we noticed that Loki was displaying. He was just kind of hunched over, just looked off. We didn't give it too much thought. We fed him, and then we went away for the day and came back later in the afternoon. But
was he left inside or outside?
They have access to both. We have a doggy door.
You have more than one dog?
Yeah, we have two.
Okay. So you noticed that Loki was acting in a lethargic way.
Right.
When you came home?
Right. That was later on that Sunday, August 2nd. He wasn't at the door to greet us, which he's always is, so we went to the back, found him kind of cowering by the pool, and he wouldn't come, and he was just really bad, so we took him to the emergency vet on the evening of August 2nd.
Do you have a report from the vet?
Yes.
We have that report, yeah. We did one blood test, which came back negative for
don't tell me what it came. No, just
okay.
Don't tell me what the blood test came back for. I just want to see your evidence.
Okay.
Here's a report.
Thank you. Well, that tells me that the dog died. I would like to see the report from the blood tests that they did and the diagnosis from the vet.
I don't have that one.
Well, that's the most important piece of evidence.
It should have been in the police report, is where it should have been, in our police report.
Dog lover and sympathetic with you, but this is a court. Court rules on evidence.
That's what we have with the vet that we took him to the following day. He made that report, and that was his findings.
We took him to several vets.
Well, he made the report based on... Just a second. I'll look at the second piece of information that you have. You do understand that the first piece of evidence that you have is of totally no value to me.
Right.
Because it doesn't give a diagnosis.
Right.
As long as you understand that, Mr. Trotter. Okay, now I'll read this.
I don't know why they didn't give us that.
Okay, you brought your dog in, and your dog was sick. You went to the vet. You didn't take the dog back to the first vet, which must have been an emergency vet.
Right.
You took the dog to this vet who examined the dog and says the dog seems to have neurological defects were observed on examination. Okay. Intention tremors were noted along with delayed conscious of both limbs. Animal component to Loki's breathing was also noted. I don't know what that means. I'm not a vet. He was 2% dehydrated and semi-non-ambulatory, and they prescribed some things. And they have a differential diagnosis of toxicity, a toxin.
Bromethylene, yeah.
So what you have is you have...
And a dead dog.
That it is possible that your dog died from ingesting some sort of toxin. You have to connect that to the defendant in order for you to be successful in a court.
I understand.
Not in a court of sympathy, but in a court of law.
Right.
So I'm willing to take a look at what evidence that you have.
So in the animal care report, you can give me that. That's from the animal control. It specifically says that his...
No, don't tell me what it says. Don't tell me what it says.
I'll
read it.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so you reported that your dog was killed by the neighbor who left out rat poison. So far, we have no evidence of that. Reporter had spoken to the neighbor about the concern in the weeks before the incident, and his dog was confirmed that poison was the cause of death by the dog. Well, that I didn't see. It said a toxin. As a little pet owner, a toxin could be a lot of things.
Right.
Could be something that they eat out on the lawn.
If you keep reading, it'll connect it.
Well, I will, but so far what I've read is just your synopsis without any evidence, because neither of the two reports that you showed me confirm that the dog was killed by a poison.
Right.
Nothing could confirm that.
Okay, so
except a neurologist, in order to confirm this kind of poisoning.
I just told your husband you're not a veterinarian, I assume.
It's just what they told us.
Which makes you not an expert. Just a second. I mean, are you just being purposefully obstinate? I told your husband you cannot tell me what a vet told you, because that's hearsay and inadmissible. The fact that you say it twice doesn't make it any more admissible. It's still inadmissible. If it's in a veterinarian report as a business record, I can read it. But you're telling that to me is hearsay. You say it once, twice, or three times. It doesn't make it less hearsay. Okay. So this says, per the reporter, the neighbor had to have reached over the property line to zip tie a bag lock of poison to a tree in reporter's yard. So that's conjecture, because nobody saw that.
We have evidence.
The rats, when you show me evidence, I'll read it.
Can I show you evidence?
Not yet. Okay. Right now I'm reading what you put up here for me to see, which is just a story that you think may have happened. The rats chewed through the bags. The poison fell to the ground, and the dog ingested it. That's conjecture. You may have evidence to show me that that is what a fact is, but so far that's all. That's not proof in a court. The zip tie is still on the tree, and the remnants of the poison are still on the ground in the reporter's yard. Okay. You wanted to show me something else, Mrs. Trotter?
So, Your Honor, here are pictures where my husband found the zip ties. The day he died, he went out in the backyard to see what could have possibly caused his death, and this is what he found. There's a few pictures here.
Also, if you notice in that report that you just went over from the animal control, it did specifically say that Loki had green residue in his feces. It was bright green, the same color as the poison.
Actually, Mr. Trotter, what it said was very clear. It said that it was reported to animal control that the dog had had discoloration in its feces for 2 weeks prior to his death.
Yes.
No, and also on August 1st, we also took pictures of his feces.
Just what I'm telling you was that your dog was sick for 2 weeks.
We didn't know he was sick. He had no symptoms.
Listen to me. Do not interrupt me again. Whoever spoke to animal control confirmed to animal control that the dog had had green feces for 2 weeks prior to the dog getting sick.
Right.
I'm going to read it up again.
Right. Okay. I'm not disagreeing with that
So
at
this
all.
is from animal. Okay. You're interrupting.
It didn't say
what you
that
are
he had
doing
it.
is interrupting me. What you are doing is interrupting me. Throughout my conversation, they stated, we don't believe that Kevin placed poison out intentionally. However, we are upset that the poison was placed on our property without our knowledge. Okay. On August 5th, they arrived at your house and spoke to the dog owner. The animal control officer said, I explained to the Trotters that there does not seem to be intent of crimes against animals and evidence that Loki passed away from the rodent poison as the blood work was relatively normal and there was no body to conduct an autopsy on to conclusively determine that Loki passed away due to the ingestion of a specific poison set out by Kevin. That's what animal control says in their report, which is what, Mrs. Trotter, I'm trying to elicit from you.
Can I say something?
In order for you to establish that the defendant is responsible for your dog's death, you have to establish that the dog was poisoned.
I have evidence that I'm still
looking. You gave me this evidence.
So We have obviously the stool was bright green. We noticed that 2 weeks prior, and also...
It was bright green for 2 weeks?
No, it was not bright green for 2 weeks. It was once.
Off and on.
Maybe a couple times over the 2-week period, we noticed his stool color was bright green.
It was only on August 1st that we actually took pictures.
But he had no symptoms whatsoever at that time, so we attribute it to diet related, because I feed my dogs a raw diet, blueberries, yellow vegetables, and I went on a Facebook group that I go on to get their feedback, and since there were no symptoms, they told me they believed it was diet related.
Don't tell me what anybody else told you. You can't tell me what anybody else told you.
He had no symptoms at that time.
It's...
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Here is another picture of all the zip ties that we cut off from his placement of putting these zip ties on our wall. The time my husband took these zip ties to him, he laughed in my husband's face.
Derek and Nicole Trotter claim neighbor Kevin Edquist is responsible for fatally poisoning their dog, Loki.
Keep going.
So here are pictures.
Next.
Okay.
Next.
You saw this one?
What's next? I saw it.
The residue here. Here we see
I saw it.
The zip ties that were placed in our property, and below the zip ties you can see the poison residue on our vine here.
And he admits to putting it there.
In the report that you read, he admitted to putting it there. Here's another picture where...
I read the report.
You can see one of the zip ties...
I read the report.
...below our property wall, and you can see that. And then here is another picture of all the zip ties that we cut off from his placement of putting these zip ties on our wall.
Any other evidence that you want me to see?
No. At the time my husband took these zip ties to him, he laughed in my husband's face.
Don't tell me what he did unless you were there. Were you there?
He was there.
No, but I was there. And yes, he did.
I know you were there, but you have to tell me.
Yeah.
If she tells me, it's because you told her.
I took all the zip ties in the
hearsay.
baggie and said, this can never happen again. And he just kind of laughed and said, well, there's no blood in the report. But it doesn't show up in the blood report, that type of poison.
Okay, Mr. Trotter. Puppy died on August 4th. And a couple of weeks later, you got a new puppy. Do you like the new puppy?
He's very cute, yes.
He doesn't,
very sweet.
Doesn't replace our old dog.
Okay. Well, believe me, I do understand that. I've had pets my whole life, and I've lost them, and sometimes I've lost them to old age, and sometimes not. You can't state anything. I want to see evidence. I've looked at what you tell me is all of your evidence, Mrs. Trotter.
We had asked this gentleman
and I haven't spoken.
Not to...
If the defendant attached anything to your side of the property, that's trespass. You might sue him for trespass. What you have to prove, I know you're looking for things and not listening, Mrs. Trotter, so I guess I'm talking to your husband and to another 10 million people. Okay? My dogs have gotten sick from a lot of toxins. When the gardener puts in fertilizer, if I'm not careful enough, and one of them grabs and eats one of the chunks of fertilizer, they get very sick from a toxin. When there are rabbit droppings or deer droppings, and if a dog ingests that, it's a toxin, they can get sick and die. I'm not saying that what the defendant did by putting out rat poison, you did put out rat poison, is that correct?
Over the last 10, 12 years, correct. Yes.
In my property.
But you did for a period of time.
Correct.
Within months of this, you put out rat poison.
On my property side, yes.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
2 things. That the dog died as a result of a poison. I am acutely aware of seizures. I lost a little dog 3 months ago that had a seizure, and I didn't sue anybody.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Derek and Nicole Trotter say the negligence of neighbor Kevin Edquist led to the poisoning and death of their dog, Loki.
Now, what you have to establish are 2 things. That your dog died from a poison other than any other kind of just toxin, which is a toxic material, and connect the defendant to that. So far, the only thing that you showed me is a to whom it may concern letter that I assure you was written recently, not back in August. Would that be correct?
It was about a...
The second...
Right.
Attention.
Does the manner of the
may
death of the dog count? Does that count as evidence, the manner of death? Because he died of a seizure.
Just a second. If you had a vet here who could tell me that seizure that vet observed, or the aftermath of that seizure, was a direct result of a rat poison, that would be a nexus.
Well, that's what bromethylene does. It's a neurological...
Acutely aware of seizures. I lost a little dog 3 months ago that was a perfectly healthy little dog that had a seizure and had not been poisoned.
Our dog's feces was the same color as the poison.
Had not. Just a second. What I'm telling you is, I don't know how it happened. I don't know the cause of it because I, like you, said I don't want to put myself or the dog through anything else, through an autopsy to find out what happened, and I'm not going to do that. That's what I said to and I didn't, and I still don't know the reason for that seizure. I didn't sue anybody. You want to sue the defendant, and it is possible that some of the poison that he put out months ago dripped onto your property, and it is also possible that your puppy was licking that poison over a long period of time because there was some evidence of it for weeks. All of that is possible. We don't deal with possibilities in court. We deal with evidence. Two things: that the dog died as a result of a poisoning, and two, something related to the defendant that relates him to that poison. You haven't breached that first threshold. The
pictures that we showed you were placed in our property.
No, there's no... Okay, great. There's no evidence of that. That's trespass.
Your Honor.
I feel sorry for you. Now I'm finished. I'm actually finished with you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, I feel sorry for you. Believe me, I understand your pain, and I understand the fact that when you let a dog outside, especially a puppy, and you leave that dog the ability to go in and out all day long without being watched, things happen. It is possible, I'm not going to say it more than this time, it is possible that the dog's death resulted from the rat poison that the defendant put out on the property. You have not proven to me that your dog was poisoned through evidence that was clearly available to you, and if there was evidence that the dog was poisoned, it would have been in the blood work. Okay. And if it wasn't evident in the blood work, then when the dog died, you could have had an autopsy to establish to your own satisfaction that the dog died as a result of poisoning.
We didn't know.
All right,
until
case
we
is
found
dismissed.
The
We're done. Thank you. We're done.
And on the next Judge Judy...
The agreement was I would collect payment at the end of the classes.
What justification is there not to pay her any money?
She was late. She probably doesn't understand what she's trying to say.
Judge Judy.
We know it was him. We know he did it. We know he put the poison on our property.
I didn't put poison out. I didn't poison her dog.
And he should pay. He should do the decent thing. But he's not a decent human being.
I had put poison out over the 10, 12 years. But not during this period of time.
No, we've had dogs for 13 years, never had a problem before until recently, and we asked him not to place poison there.
It's possible. It could be the pull guy. I don't know. It could be something else. I have no evidence.
And he didn't care. He still put poison in our property, which we did not know about.
It was a money grab.
I went over to approach him, and he basically laughed in my face about it.
And I told him, I'm very sorry for loss of your dog.